Okay, I'm back. I'm gonna go for a different desktop again on Arch today. Last one was a little bit awkward. What I actually expected how Arch was supposed to be, a lot fiddly, terminal heavy. So I'm gonna go something else. Let's see what the next one is. I can't remember which one I'm gonna go for next, but we'll see what it is. As usual, I've already reset up this Windows machine because Arch doesn't like going over Arch for some bizarre reason. If you are going to install a new operating system on a machine that you use for your main PC, always get your files, your documents, your pictures, anything important to you off first before you do this. So I'm going to go right ahead and restart the machine, and then get a Arch Linux setup going, and I'm going to take it from there once it's in. I'll meet you up again when I decide which type of desktop I'm going to be using. So I will see you soon. Okay, here I am at the desktop shooting again. So I'm going to go with Budgie this time. Again, going in blind. But I have another machine already set up so I can look straight on Google without having to mess around too much. So hopefully it'll be an easier setup than last time. As usual, I've gone through the usual partition style, already set up a super user, set up a root password, normal password like I do on every other thing, set regions, stuff like that. All I've got to do is change the audio, change the network configuration manager, and just start the install. So once the install's up and finished, I will come back to you and let's take a look at Budgie. Okay, the actual system's been installed. I'm going to do the reboot, take the USB drive out as usual when it reboots so it doesn't reboot into the USB drive, and let's take a look at this desktop. It shouldn't take too, well, like I say, it usually doesn't take too long to reboot an Linux system anyway. Just give me a second here. Right, that's the USB drive out, so that's not needed no longer for this install. Up straight onto the Grub. I've found Grub Boot Manager a hell of a lot better than Systemd. So, and maybe in the future, if I do another dual boot system, it will still be Grub again. So there we go. Okay, this looks a little more like. Might have to get the right mouse. I've just got to try and now. Oh, it's actually mirrored straight away. Oh, that's really good. So what I think the network is just basically you click this, maybe, or not, yep. Available networks. It finds it straight away. This seems a lot more like Plasma. Or maybe it might be a medium in between, so might have to click on it. Here we go. And that's the network setup straight away. So let me try and work it out. Yep, the connection's established now. So I'm hoping there it is. Let's just so maybe desktop settings. Maybe, maybe not. I'm just because on the bottom screen it's not quite fitting the screen properly, so I'm just going to try and get that set up so I can see what I'm doing rather than just you being able to see what I'm doing. Once I've done that, I'll come back to you. Okay, I finally got the screens back to where they're supposed to be. I can see everything that you're seeing now. I did end up having to reinstall it. I think when it comes to Budgie, you need to specify what exact graphics driver is going in, because it's just a general driver install on all Intel, all NVIDIA, and all AMD cards or ATI cards. It comes up with this, and as soon as I tried to mirror the screen, it completely knacked up. And the way I had to mirror the screen on this was to set the both resolutions as the same, so that I'd actually bring them both in line, as one was just over scanning way too much. So I'm going to now try and work out how to get any new programs on here. I think what I was doing then. So I would have thought possibly it's going to be system tools, or it might actually have to be all through terminal, which won't be a bad thing as long as it's still the same. So pop into terminal. So sudo pacman. Nope, it's not install. It's dash capital S and hit Firefox. See if this brings anything up. Nope, command's not found. So bear with me a second. I'm just going to find out exactly what terminal commands I need to learn. Ah, so it's right. Okay, so it's slightly different again. I think it should be this one. Yeah, it looks like this is the right way to do it. So I think this is going to be another one where you should really go through the menu on what extra you need. Yeah, it should be this. Unless it's nope. So it's definitely see if we can get VLC up. It's not finding any commands. Bear with me a second. I'll probably have to install a repository or two. No, I was right. I need to actually refresh the repository first, which isn't a problem. Never let me do that. So I've definitely done something wrong here. It's not giving me any repository. Right, let me find out how to install repositories. I'll be back again. Right, okay, I'm going to give this a try. So this might not work. Nope, it will not find any repositories. So already I'm finding out with Budgie you have to completely set everything up individually, which is a bit weird. So I'll try. Oh, right, give me a second. I need to put the URL, find the URL in. Right, hang on. I'm going to come back to you again. It might help if I actually check what I'm writing in commands. See if this one works. Looks like you might be getting somewhere this time. Yeah, the directory doesn't exist, so there's nothing there to install. So give me a second here. So I'll come back in a second once I've hopefully found where the repository is downloaded from. So hopefully I've found how to update the package manager. If there's nothing there, it should still go. And now we're synchronizing the package manager. It's just a case of finding the right code to write down to find the package managers to then install everything. That's done. So now it should be sudo pacman -s. Hopefully this will do it. Yeah, and now I'm installing Firefox. So yeah, it's just basically when you get stuck, troll through the internet, troll through Google, troll through several different ways of asking us the same question till you get the right answer, and it will eventually give you the right command eventually. And once you get it up and running properly, things are a lot smoother. So as this now is installing, I will come back to you and see if Firefox works. And if that's the case, I'll do a little bit more of a smoother video at some point. Maybe, maybe not. But I think it's installed, so let's have a look, see if we can find internet, and Firefox is there, and it's up and running. So I think we're doing the Enlightenment desktop yesterday. It's made things a little bit easier, a little bit smoother. It's just having to know how to ask Google what you're wanting to find. I mean, if I can learn it, anybody can learn it. So hopefully eventually it starts sticking in. But this seems a little bit of a halfway point between KDE and Enlightenment. Enlightenment was a lot more heavily influenced on the terminal. This is still quite a lot in the terminal, which isn't a problem really once you find out the right codes or right commands to write in code to get to run. But let's make sure this is working. I think it will be, but like this one was easier to connect to the internet with. This was easier to mirror a screen with. Hang on a second. Was easier to mirror the screens. Only thing that I literally fell short on was knowing where to get a repository from to update it all, to make sure I had facilities to install other programs, which I eventually found out a lot less hard work than the last night's. So this is kind of a happy medium to play with, I think, other than the Enlightenment Desktop. That one is definitely for people who really know the stuff about Linux and all the Linux commands, code commands on terminal. This one, you still need to know your code commands, but it's easier to get the initial setup. Like the internet's easier to set up initially. It's easier to change your, it's like with the mirroring, easier to go into your desktop script, desktop settings. Sorry, rather than trying to left and right click on Enlightenment for commands. You're mainly only just doing your right click, which was kind of confusing to me, where there's left click, right click commands. I will say when you hit the internet settings, when you're initially setting up, it is a right click instead of a left click on the little icon, and then you've got to go to add a connection. Sorry, I'm not flustered with words today. I think I'm still a little bit tired from last night, but initially, yes, it's one of those where you can work it out if you've got the inclination. I still suggest KDE for people, or Cinnamon, XFCE. I'm not a lover of GNOME, but I know a lot of people like GNOME. But I think already we've found the range of making Arch easy, making Arch incredibly hard, and then there's a happy medium where you've got to work a little bit to get things going. But yeah, that's it for this one. I'm not going to go too in depth with it. This one, like I say, a lot easier to work with, and that's it from me. Thanks a lot. Just a little bit of an add-on for this one. The more I was playing around with this desktop, the harder it seemed to be to get a screen mirror via my capture card, to a point where the screen that should be working is now completely blank, and the only screen I can see is the one on OBS. And it's probably doing something wrong, but I was just doing the same thing as what I was doing before, and it just kept on slowly getting worse and worse. The second time I went onto the desktop, it was screen side by side. I could not mirror them at all, wouldn't let me do that. Then the third time I went into the desktop, the screen that should be original was just gone, completely gone. So I don't know what I've done wrong there. but I don't think it's quite as stable as the KDE variant. So anyway, that's definitely the end of this one. Thanks a lot.